You might be wondering how in the world did someone come up with the quadratic formula? And I wish I could say it was me, but it wasn't. But I am going to show you how, or I guess just how. How do we come up with the quadratic formula? So here it goes. So first thing I'm going to do is start with the, hold on a second. I'm going to start with standard form of a quadratic equation. So ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So that's our standard form. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we can get the quadratic formula by completing the square on this right here with the a and the b and the c. All right, so what I'm going to do is go through the steps of completing the square. So first thing is the way I taught you to do completing the square is that C is the wrong guy for the job. So we need to move him out of the way. So we're going to have ax squared plus bx equals negative c. All right, now we have a leading coefficient. So we need to factor out that leading coefficient. So I need to take this a out. And when I take this out, I'm left with x squared plus whatever b over a is. And then we can put our blank equals negative c plus, and then we can put our blank. So I took the a out. So when we take the a out, we take the b and we divide it by whatever a was, and that's what's left over. All right, so now we got to think about it. So our special number here. So now we need to know who should we put in the spot. So let's think for a second. We know we need to take this, and we need to take half of it. So I want b over 2a. But then for this spot, we take half of this, but now we have to square it. And when we square b, we get b squared. And when we square 2a, we get 4a squared. All right? Now, what happens on this side is we need to even it out. So since we added b squared over 4a squared on this side, we need to add the equal amount over here. But remember that this has been multiplied by the a, or it needs to be multiplied by the a. So when I come over here on this side, I'm going to have ab squared over 4a squared. But the deal is that one of these a's can cancel with one of those. So really, I can cross those off. So what I'm adding to this side is b squared over 4a. All right, so now on the left, we need to go ahead and factor this. So I know that I can factor this to be a, and then I'm going to have x plus b over 2a squared, because half of this is what always goes inside of our parentheses. All right, so now I'm over here on this side, and I need to add these two things together. Well, in order to add these two things together, we need to have a common denominator. Well, if we have negative c, that's going to be over 1. But what we need is for this to be over 4a. So in order for this to be over 4a, this needs to be negative 4ac. Because negative 4ac over 4a would cancel and leave a negative c. So now I have a common denominator. So when I combine these two together, I'm going to get negative 4ac plus b squared, and that is going to be over 4a. All right, so now the next thing that needs to happen is that I need to get this squared part by itself. So in order to get this squared part by itself, I need to divide both sides by a. So divide this side by a, divide this side by a. So this is going to cancel right there. So now we have x plus b over 2a squared equals, and then just so that I'm not starting with a negative, I'm going to rewrite this as b squared minus 4ac, and that is over 4a squared. So now I'm at the spot where to solve, because remember we're solving for x, we need to take the square root of both sides. So when I take the square root of something that's squared, I get what I started with. So this side is x plus b over 2a. And then over here, I need to take the square root of b squared minus 4ac. Well, I can't really do that because b squared minus 4ac would need to be a single term, and it's not. But I can take the square root of 4a squared. So the square root of 4a squared would be 2a. And then don't forget, anytime that we take the square root of something, we have a positive or negative value. So last thing I need to do is to bring this over to this side. So I need to subtract b over 2a. So x is plus or minus, we have the square root of b squared minus 4ac. All of that is over 2a. And then I need to subtract b over 2a. Well, you should by now recognize this. So if we rewrite it, we would have negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and all of that is over 2a. So because we talked about, whoops, sorry, off the screen, because we talked about how we can put that over just one fraction instead of two separate ones. So this is how this trinomial right here became the quadratic formula. And there you have it. So that is a proof of the quadratic formula done live. I hope you enjoyed it.